In communication with Southern California, KHJ-TV Public Affairs presents Teen Talk. The United States Supreme Court in 1973 in Roe v. Wade gave women the right to choose abortion. There are about 1.5 million legal abortions performed each year, many of them on teenagers. In a recent teen magazine poll, 55% of its readers voted in favor of abortions. 45% disagreed.
Abortion is a very controversial issue. Those against abortion go to any extreme and state that abortion is murder, plain and simple. We recently presented a discussion on the issue of abortion whereby most of the panelists defended a pro-choice position. And now, in order to balance the scales, we've invited a Teen Talk panel who celebrate the right to life and, for the most part on our panel today, oppose abortion. I'm Joseph Feinstein. Welcome to Teen Talk. Welcome, panel. Welcome to Teen Talk. Tell us why you support the right to life position. Dan, let's start with you.
Well, I'm against abortion mainly because I believe when the baby is inside the mother that it's living when they abort it, and that's murder.
Okay, now it's a fetus inside of a mother, not
Right.
a baby. It's not been born yet,
Okay.
so we still call it a fetus. How about you, Debs?
I agree with Dan. I feel it is murder.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel no one has the right to kill what is living and growing inside of someone just for the sake of their own convenience or whatever the reason might be.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. I hear you. I hear you. Nancy, you take a right to life point of view also. What does that say?
First of all, fetus is Latin for unborn baby. Unborn means it is not born, but it is living.
Mm-hmm.
So, in fact, it is murder, like Dan said. But I also feel that everyone says that the women should have the choice of what they want to do with their own body. They're not doing with their own body. If that was the case, they should have their baby and kill themselves.
So you feel that it's wrong for the mother to take the baby's life, the fetus's life, and instead it would really be a matter of taking your own life, which is also against the law. You
Yes.
cannot commit suicide.
Right.
That's not fair either. Okay, but you call it murder also. All right, and your position. What's your position?
I strongly believe in what Nancy just said.
In what way, Bianca?
I really believe that if a woman is going to get herself in a position to be pregnant and have that child, that is her responsibility, and I don't think she should go ahead and just abort it like that.
You don't feel it?
No.
It's morally wrong, ethically wrong. What way wrong?
I think that child should have a chance, whether or not to adopt it, put up for adoption, or I just feel that they shouldn't just cut off its life for her convenience.
Okay, I hear you, and I hear the points that you're making. Let's hear about the pro-choice. What does the pro-choice argument say, Gibran? Why don't you explain that to us?
Well, we're not saying that we're actually for abortion. I mean, I agree, yes, that's life also, and it shouldn't be killed off or anything.
Uh-huh.
But what we are saying is the woman should have a choice. The individual should have a choice, and I don't think that's for anyone else to tell her what to do and what not to do.
Uh-huh. Any thoughts that you have, Steffi?
Yes. A woman should have a choice, no matter what, to abort a child. It is her decision. The government shouldn't tell anybody what to do, no matter what it is. The bottom line is...
The government has told it. There was a time up through 1973 that the government said it cannot be done, and then through a number of laws and a decision with Roe versus Wade, it came out and the government said, yes, now we favor abortion. So the law of the land now states that a woman can have an abortion if she so chooses, and that it's not murder. That it's not murder. Go ahead, you want to say more?
Right. What I don't understand is if the pro-life people are so pro-life, why do they bomb abortion houses and kill people inside the abortion houses? That is murder in itself. And in fact, they're being hypocritical on the fact that they say one thing and they do another.
Would any of you go ahead, Debbie?
You can't say they because that's too general. There are people like that, and I don't understand that either. But not all of us feel that way. I'm against abortion, but you can't stop it by using violent means. There are other ways of going around it.
Well, what seems to be wrong about the concept that a woman is choosing through her own ethics and her own morals to follow something that the laws of the land say are okay? What makes this wrong, Nancy?
Can you say it again, please?
What makes it wrong for a woman to choose to have an abortion when the law of the land says that you can't have an abortion? Why do you say that this is ethically unfair and not right?
Well, it's, there was an article I read on the things that Hitler did, and he said that there were the useless eaters, there were the old people, and they were just taking up space, they were, eating, and they weren't able to help themselves, and so we should kill them. We're going to be old someday. Do we want someone else to make the choice whether we should live or die? That's what we're doing with the babies.
Okay.
I feel that's two different things. An old person and an unborn fetus is two different things. You're talking about an old person who he or she is living and breathing. This fetus is not living or breathing.
Yes,
it's
it is.
2 or 3
Yes, it
weeks
is.
old. It has no mind. It has nothing.
Is a living fetus? Go ahead.
Excuse me, that child does have brainwaves by the time it's, 6 weeks? And if that child, the only reason that child has to be inside his mother is to mature. If that child was out of his mother's womb, they would, obviously would die, but that is the only reason why it's inside his mother's fetus.
By 11 weeks, the fetus is completely born. It's it's completely together. The only reason it stays in the mother's womb for the rest of the 9 months is to mature.
Okay, usually 11 weeks is the time that you usually can't get an abortion. So it's before then that you have to get the abortion. Other than that, it's against the law. So I can understand not aborting a child after the time period. But this, we're talking about before the time period, okay? 2 months. There is nothing. It's as big as my fingernail. The fetus is nothing. I don't see how you can say that.
There are some startling and ugly accounts of the activities of the right to life extremists. They've been accused of bombing abortion clinics, and they have refused to let pregnant women visiting those clinics pass their line of defense. And I'm wondering, panel, do you think this extremist activity is justified? Is it okay for people to do these kinds of things? Scott, how do you feel about it?
The extremist activities are unjustified. They're an act of terrorism. Just like if I went out and I bombed an airport, they're doing the same thing. They result into terrorism, which accomplishes nothing in the long run. It startles people, but it doesn't accomplish anything. The people having the abortions are going to have the abortions whether you're bombing clinics or not. I mean, it goes back to even before abortion was illegal. The rich were having the abortions. The rich were going to Switzerland. They were going to Europe, to France, to have these abortions. It's not going to...
Japan was a popular place to go in those days, too, and certain places in Mexico also served. They set up illegal abortion clinics in those places, but in Japan it was legal. In Switzerland or Sweden it was legal, so it's been going on for a while. Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, there were so many people having abortions even in the States. I mean, you could, with a little bit of money, the rich can go to Beverly Hills and have an abortion. I mean, it was going on all the time.
So why are all these people doing all this extremist stuff, Dan? I mean, you represent a point of view where there's a lot of people who believe as you do. There's a lot of people in the United States who believe this concept that aborting is creating murder, and yet they do some of these things. What would you say if you saw this happening?
Well, I'm against what they're doing. I don't think that sets a very good image for the people that are against abortion. We don't all feel that. I'm sure we don't all feel that that we should do that kind of thing, because it's not going to really accomplish anything. It's going to get people on the news, and it's going to do bad publicity.
That's one of the things they do. They want to get on the news, and they are on the news because, with holding their placards and screaming all the different things that they scream. Do you feel that this is okay?
No, I mean, I don't agree with that. I think they're just trying, trying to get noticed. They want
What
people
would
to
you
believe
do?
in them.
What would you do if you wanted to convey to a whole bunch of people that you feel that abortion is wrong, as you do feel? What would you do to change the law?
Petitions. I mean, I wouldn't go to the extreme of blowing up anyone or trying to kill someone, because that's obviously what we're against. But I feel that what we're doing right now is going to help it, because a lot of the statistics show that the teenagers are the ones that are basically having a high percentage of all of this.
You've got to believe it, 1.5 million teenagers last year having abortions, and it bothers me. I've taught a class called Contemporary American Problems, and in that class I invite people from the pro-choice concept and from the right to life people to come to my classes and speak. Now, the right to life people that come to speak show pictures, some of the most gross pictures I could ever begin to describe to you. And they refer to fetuses as babies, and they refer to abortion as murder, and all of these kinds of things. And they really load their arguments in favor this kind of way. How do you feel about that? How do you feel about that? Is that fair?
Well, it exposes more to the public about what is happening and their point of view. I feel that, gosh, in abortion, people say that they can have an abortion because the baby isn't alive. But how do you know? You don't really know whether the baby is living or the fetus is living or not. Science has gone in and say, well, we determine at so many weeks it starts its life. But the only one that really knows is God, correct? That's how I feel.
Okay, so you're thinking that this is an intrusion on something that has been created by God?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Not too much of an argument there. Go ahead. You want to say something, Mark?
Well, basically, I feel that government tells you, statistics shows that before it was made legal, that there was things called back alley abortions, where mothers would die from unsanitary conditions and from bleeding, things like that. And no matter if the government says, all right, no abortions, they say no drugs. Are there drugs on the street? There sure are. And so I feel that just by saying it, it's not going to wipe out the problem. People will go down to Mexico, like you say, other countries, and they'll be right here in the States.
They don't have to go anymore. They can do it in sanitary conditions, in hospitals, in Planned Parenthood clinics.
Yeah, but I'm saying if they make it illegal
again.
If
they make it illegal again.
Right. If they make it illegal, you're going to have 14 and 15-year-old girls going to these back alleys, going to underground cellars, having these abortions done with coat hangers or whatever, a person who's not a doctor performing these abortions.
Nancy's shaking her head no, vehemently no. What do you want to say, Nancy?
If you just read articles, you can see that they make abortion legal, but that doesn't take the percentage of it being illegal. It hasn't dropped any at all, whether it's legal or not. The percentage of people having illegal abortions hasn't dropped with abortion being illegal.
I quote.
Go ahead. What happens when a 14-year-old girl can't get an abortion? You tell me what she's going to do. You think she's going to have that baby?
Why shouldn't she? Excuse me. I think
she's going to have a job, support a baby.
She can,
hold on, Steph. Hold on. Go ahead.
There are other alternatives. I have a girlfriend who has been to those abortion clinics to find out if she can get pregnant. She is praying for a child. There are 800,000 couples out there waiting, just waiting and praying for a child to come into this world, to be with them, to love and to care for them. That child, if she put herself in a position like that, she could think about it and give that child a chance to come into this world and give it to a family that will care for it and love it and give it everything that it needs.
That's a bunch of crap.
What if it was a case of incest or rape? Do you think you say it's her choice, but what if it wasn't her choice?
Okay, let me tell you something.
Okay, what if she was raped by someone with a disease or something? That would you might as well say, okay, well, I'll let this baby come into the world, even though he might come out deformed or something, and torture.
There's so many children out there, mentally retarded children.
So why
that
add
live
to it?
happy, healthy lives.
Oh, come on. You mean you want to bring a child into this world that's going to be deformed, that's going to have an unhealthy life, and who's going to have medical bills? What if these parents can't even afford that?
Have you ever heard a mentally retarded child say to his mother, "I wish you would have killed me"?
No. There are children who are born retarded that the parents didn't know. They love those children. That's correct.
Excuse me.
But I'm not going to ever bring a child in this world that I know is going to be retarded. That's ridiculous.
Why?
because you don't want to put up with that feeling, oh, my child's retarded.
No.
can't
You
have
want
it.
to
No,
hurt
what
it.
if you don't want to make the child suffer?
No, come on. Now, if you had a child that wasn't going to have an arm or a leg, and you knew that was going to have a crucial disease, you'd want to bring it into this world
Just to make it suffer
with
even
enough
more?
problems
I
that
think
there
we're
is
gonna-
with drugs,
I
and
think
crime.
we're going to have to call it for just a moment and take a commercial break. We'll be right back. We'll be right back. I recently came across an interesting fact that pointed out a connection between abortion and capital punishment. The majority of those people favoring a right to life idea also favored capital punishment. And it's curious to me how someone can support the saving of life with a fetus and a baby and then turn around and want someone executed. How do you feel about this curiosity, panel? Debbie?
Okay, I am for the execution of someone that has taken someone else's life. The baby hasn't done anything to anybody. It just wants to live. That's why it's there. It hasn't done anything to anybody. But then you take these criminals that go around and killing anyone. Wouldn't you? Well, in my opinion, I would want to stop them before they took anybody else's life.
And just incarcerating them, putting them in prison for the rest of their natural days would not be enough?
No, because how well do you know? You hear it on the news. They stay in for only half their term, and then they get out on parole. And
Okay,
they go out and
we're
kill
gonna have
someone.
the arguments on capital punishment on a future show. I think it's coming up in a couple of weeks, and we'll be talking about capital punishment. But it's just kind of interesting to me about that particular statistic. Also, I'm very concerned about those 1.5 million teenage pregnancies. I'm very concerned about you young people that are seemingly using abortion instead of contraception. What would happen if you found yourself pregnant? What would you do?
First of all, I wouldn't hide it. I would definitely discuss this with my parents, and I would have an adoption. I would give it up for adoption because I know those parents out there are willing to take care of my child. Whether or not I'm going to wonder what it looks like in the future. Now, when the child is 18, it's its decision.
Bianca, let me throw it at you. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
I mean, how could you feel that? Yeah, but there's a lot of parents out there that will be furious with their daughter, that will hit their daughter, that will do nasty things to their daughter for being pregnant. I have a friend who was raped. Her father beat her and still beats her because of it. I mean, there's parents that aren't like yours.
And
that
that's the
aren't
question I
caring.
was going to throw to you too, Bianca. What happens if you were raped, and as a result of that horrible experience, you found yourself pregnant? Then what?
Okay, I know someone personally who was a result of a rape, and the mother and daughter relationship is so incredible that, I mean, I could only respect the woman for having that child and putting it into this world, not looking at that child as, oh, that man raped me, and I have this, but that child is innocent. That child is not, he is in this world. It could be the President of the United States. It could be anything. And I know this woman who did this. She did not tell that child until she was much older, and there's no monotony.
All right.
But how
wait,
about-
wait a second. I want to check it out with Nancy too. How do you feel about that? If something dastardly, something horrible happened to you, and you wound up pregnant, what would you do?
I would have the baby, like Bianca said, and I would put it up for adoption. There's so many girls. If you ask a doctor, there's no way that they can legally tell if you have been raped or if you have had incest with someone. I'm sure there's a lot of girls that have, that they realize that, and all they have to do is go into the doctor and say, I was raped. I don't want this baby. I want an abortion. I was raped. And that's not
So
fair.
you think they're using that as an overall excuse kind of thing? Gibran, you want to say?
What if you were pregnant and you were in a car accident and the result of this was a hemorrhage or something, and if you didn't abort the baby, you would sacrifice your own life? Would you do that? Would you really do that? Say you were to get pregnant. I wonder if you'd really kill yourself.
It would take a lot of thought, but I really think if I took the responsibility of getting pregnant and having a baby living inside of me, I would.
This happened in a class of mine where one of the boys confessed to us one day that we were on this topic and discussing it, and he told us that his mother sacrificed herself for him to be born. It was going to be one or the other. And it had to be done, and she decided to do it that way.
Right,
Go
but
ahead,
it was
Steph.
her choice.
I don't
Yes, it was her
think
choice.
Most girls will not lie and say they were raped. Do you know what a heinous crime rape is? Most girls will they will say that they got pregnant, but I don't think they'll say they got raped.
Look at the girls though that he was talking about.
You
that
think
their
she was
parents-
lying? You think
no,
that
no, I didn't say that she was lying. But look at the parents that beat their kids for getting pregnant. What is the kid supposed to do? Okay, I got pregnant. And he figures the only way he can get out of it, or she can get out of it, is to say, I was raped to make it.
The abortion issue has always been controversial. The pro-life movement began primarily in the Catholic Church, and today it spans all religious organizations. However, the 1973 Roe v. Wade law stands, and the majority of people still support the idea of choice for the individual. Perhaps if we encouraged more sexual responsibility before a life has been irresponsibly created, then we would not have to face the terrible dilemma of what to do with unwanted pregnancy. It hardly seems like abortion should be just another form of contraception, and it shouldn't be just another casual decision. For Teen Talk, this is Joseph Feinstein saying we'll see you